Hello, I'm Dr. Leon Stutzman, aka Doc, with another one of these little videos designed to help you to get through these strange days in which we find ourselves, and these days are getting stranger and stranger and stranger. I'm talking this week about thinking outside of the box, understanding that the box is your circumstances, and allowing yourself to be circumscribed by your circumstances. How can you learn to think outside of the box? Well, let me tell you a story. Long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I drove to Hammond, Indiana for a meeting. I'd never been there before, never met the pastor, talked to him on the phone. We scheduled the meeting. I pulled up in front of his house, knocked on the door, and the door cracked about that wide. It was held fast by 3 chains. It was a bad neighborhood. I said, "I'm Evangelist Leon Stutzman." He said, "What?" I said, "I'm Evangelist Leon Stutzman." He said, "What?" I talked really fast back in those days and had a southern accent. "I'm your evangelist, Leon Stutzman." Oh, Brother Stutzman, come in. So he unlocked the chains, brought me in, sat me down at the kitchen table. "You hungry?" Well, I was a little hungry. He said, "I'll fix you something." And he fixed me canned chili and tuna fish sandwich. Now, there are 2 things that don't go together. One is canned chili, and the other is tuna fish sandwich. As we talked a little bit, I said, "Well, where will I be staying?" And he said, "Well, we cleaned out our 6-year-old's bedroom, and you can stay back there." And I said, "Is there a hotel around here?" And he said, "Well, there's a Holiday Inn and a Howard Johnson up on the turnpike." And I said, "Let me check." And I called Holiday Inn. They had a room. I scheduled a room. I said, "That'll be okay. I'll stay at the Holiday Inn." I didn't know at the time the poor man was having a heart attack because their church had $40 in the bank and they were broke. I mean, they were really broke. After we finished the meal, before I went to the hotel, we went across the street and he showed me the building. Beautiful building, seated 500 people, large facility. As we were walking along, I saw that they'd had 150 people in Sunday school the Sunday before. As we talked, he says, "Too bad we got to sell this building." And I said, "Why? Why have to sell the building?" He said, "We can't afford it." And I'm thinking to myself, because he'd volunteered that they bought the building for $14,000. I'm thinking to myself, your building payment's only $150 a month. What, you got 150 people in Sunday school, that's $1 a person. Why can't you afford this building? I started to ask him, I felt the Holy Spirit speak to me and say, "Just hold your peace and watch." And that night when I began the meeting, I saw why. They were the poorest people that I have ever preached to. They were, when the poor folk got together, they called them poor. You could just see poverty written over everyone. So I did what any self-respecting evangelist would do back in the day. And by the way, this is the way we did things back in the day. At the end of the service, I stepped out and I said, "There are 7 people in this room that are going to sow a $100 seed this week, and I want you to take an envelope." You could have heard a pin drop. It was absolutely silent in that room. But one by one, 7 people walked forward, took an envelope, made a vow to sow a $100 seed into the meeting. And that night, 3 of them actually sowed their $100 seed. The next day, all 3 called the pastor with testimonies of God providing supernaturally in their lives, and they all prospered. Well, that started something in that church. They broke through that poverty mentality. They developed a prosperity mentality. Toward the end of the week, because Hammond, Indiana is right next to Chicago, we drove up to what was then the world-famous Maxwell Street. I was going to buy a suit for $100. As we were looking at suits, the pastor was feeling some material, and I said to him, "You going to buy that suit?" He said, "No, I don't think so." And I said, "Yeah, you really need that suit. That's just you." And "Yeah, I don't think so." I said, "I'm going to buy the suit for you." So instead of buying myself a $100 suit, I bought him a $100 suit. And he began to cry because it's the first suit that he had ever owned in his entire life. He was 44 years old, but he had that poverty mentality. He was inside of that box. And that meeting broke him out of the box. Now, what do you learn from the little story I've just told you? And by the way, I didn't tell you the story, so you send a $100 offering. I told the story to illustrate sometimes if you're inside the box, you need an outside force, a catalyst that will break you or help you to break outside of the box, because in reality, you're the only one that can break out of your box. And that was me in those circumstances. I had a word. They heard that word. They applied that word. They worked that word, and that word worked in their lives. Sometimes you just need to take a step of faith. If you want to break out of the box, sometimes you just need to take a step of faith. And they took steps of faith that week, and they broke outside of their box. And after the meeting was well over, I talked to him on the phone, and he said, "Man, you're not going to believe what's happened." He said, the board bought me 5 more suits. We're putting in a Christian school. Attendance is up. Finances are flowing. Everything is right. And we stayed connected for a while. We lost connection. Eventually, I received a phone call one day, just a little postscript to the story. I received a phone call one day. It was him on the phone, his name was Leroy Hill. And he said, Apostle, I want you to pray for my wife. She's dying of cancer. And we prayed over the phone. There's no time, there's no space, there's no distance with God. And God raised her up and healed her that day. Listen, whatever your need, whatever the circumstances, God's got divine provision for you. I hope this little video has served as a catalyst to help you to break outside of your box and to believe bigger than you've ever believed before in your entire life. Next week, I'll share some more things with you that'll help you to get through these strange days in which we find ourselves. This Sunday at Aspire Church, I'm sharing a new series of messages called The Power of Prophetic Persuasion. And that's what happened in Hammond, Indiana. They heard a prophetic word, it persuaded them, and they discovered power. The Power of Prophetic Persuasion this Sunday at Aspire Church. Catch it on aspirechurch.tv. That's the live stream, aspirechurch.tv, or on Facebook at Aspire Church TV. Facebook, Aspire Church TV. Live stream aspirechurch.tv, Sunday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. It is going to be powerful. I want you to join with me. I'm Dr. Leon Stutzman. I'll see you again next week. I'll see you on Sunday.